I'm sensing that there's a great deal of anxiety, a great deal of fear. In my own hometown of New Orleans, we just lost the legendary jazz musician Ellis Marsalis and a number of other people who were prominent in the community, high school football coaches and others. So it's beginning to touch very close to home. If you're in a situation where you know someone who's been ill or you know someone who's now died because of COVID-19, this becomes something very different. We can all watch the numbers, but in many of these communities, they're tight-knit. People are very close to each other, and people know people who have lost their lives. I just noted a transit operator in Detroit just lost his life due to the virus. So it's beginning to hit close to home. And so you've got a public health emergency that's initiated an economic emergency. And that's what makes it. And then the third thing is the level of uncertainty. We don't know when physical distancing will end. We don't know when broad testing or a vaccine will be available. So we're looking into the future, and there's a great deal of uncertainty all across the land, but certainly in urban communities, particularly where the virus numbers have been high. But I warn people, don't say because it's high there, it can't get to me. It can't come to me because of the spread of this disease. It's now in every single state and territory in the United States to a different degree, but we don't know what the future holds.
The spread and the speed of transmission of this disease is something that is really just something we've never seen, at least in my lifetime. I was speaking to a physician maybe 6 weeks ago, and he said very presciently, everyone in this country is going to know someone who gets sick, and most people in this country are going to know someone who passes away from this. I want to turn the conversation in a different way. I know you're a spiritual man. What is this doing to our soul?
It's challenging our soul because it's forcing us to be patient, perseverant, and I think I have faith, but it's also challenging the sense of optimism. It's easy for there to be a great deal of doom and gloom because of the uncertainty and the fact that this is global in nature. It's not in one community. Most emergencies may affect a community. A natural disaster may affect a region of the country. Even a global economic downturn like we experienced 10 years ago, it did not have the effect that this is beginning to have on all of us. So it tests our faith, but it tests our perseverance and our confidence in ourselves as human beings. And we've got to, I think, have faith and pray for healthcare workers and those on the front line. We've got to pray for the elected and public officials who are working, I think, for the most part, in a diligent way to help to lead the best and most responsible responses to this.
I was going to ask you where you turn for spiritual help right now, and you answered it. Let me then angle another question a different way. People's sense of self-worth is tied up very intimately in their work and what they do. It gives them a sense of worth, a sense of contribution. And when you see 700,000 people now having lost their job in the last month, 6 million people just yesterday filing unemployment claims, what is it going to do to people's self-worth? And how do you think, how lasting do you think that damage could be?
Well, it's so stunning, Ty, the actual numbers that we see, and phone calls I've fielded have been from small business owners that have 50, 75 employees to people who were self-employed. And for a minute, they get their bearings, and then they begin to wonder, how will I make it a month from now or 2 months from now? Are these government programs going to be temporary, or will they help me transition to when the economy is indeed better? The uncertainty and the anxiety that I think is beginning to affect people and families, children not being in school, not knowing when they'll be able to resume their studies. Will they have to repeat a semester or repeat a grade? All of these are considerations and factors that are affecting, I think, the average American families, and people at every level of the economic ladder. Those certainly at the bottom, the working people who work from paycheck, live from paycheck to paycheck, are going to have the most amount of stress. I think there's going to be a need for COVID, not only 4, but maybe 5. And I want and encourage the elected leadership of this country to move very quickly to do whatever is necessary to bridge people over to what I think is going to be a better time. We need that vaccine. I think the uncertainty around this is going to continue until there's a vaccine that protects all of us. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for. Until we get that, there's going to be the uncertainty as to whether this virus will subside. It will reaccelerate once the weather gets cooler in the summer. We just don't know. But I want and hope people have faith and realize that we are all in this as people together. This is not affecting one or the other. This is affecting everyone in this country. And so we've got to look at each other and recognize we're all in the same boat.